Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Happy New Year's coming up. I got to keep remembering tomorrow's New Year's Eve, Monday's New Year's Day. It's not as good as it used to be with like Saturday. We only got 4 games and they're pretty lousy. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games tomorrow, and or on Monday. It's really not as good as it used to be. The Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl and the Rose Bowl and everything, and it was very exciting. And the players played, and the coaches coached. Even if you weren't in for number one, which was a joke anyway, nobody sat out. In my lifetime, in the 70s, the 80s, or 90s, nobody sat out. This is a bunch of bullshit. This is a bunch of socialism. Well, if we can't win the title, I'm not going to play. Instead of being honored, they're playing. I mean, Bo cried when they had the 10-10 tie in 73, and they chose Ohio State to go to the Rose Bowl, and Michigan sat home. And Bo cried, and he got revenge. I remember betting him the next year they'd play Illinois, and they voted against them, and they'd win by 50 points. And now the teams go who shouldn't be there, like today, Toledo and Wyoming. What is that? So they go, and like, why are they there? What is the point of Wyoming and Toledo playing? I mean, they're like fourth place teams in their conferences. All right. So let's review Notre Dame, Oregon State. I've got Notre Dame under 51 and then under 48. They win 40-8 with their whole second string offense. Oregon State doesn't show up. Buglia, the coach, was gone. So that welcomed the bowl season. So we do win it under the 48, so we get home. That's why we bet the games early, or I should say that's why I bet the games early. I had an early bet, Notre Dame at 45 under 51, because I knew Hartman wasn't playing right away, and I go, well, that's going to cost them. I can't believe they scored 40, but I don't get Oregon State with 8. But I knew Notre Dame had a good defense. I just thought Oregon State had a good defense. And without Hartman, Notre Dame wasn't going to score. They both had good defenses. So anyway, we got the winner there. Then Clemson, Kentucky, 38-35 Clemson. I could never figure out Clemson. They played Florida State really well. They lost to Duke. They beat Notre Dame. It was like, whatever. So they play a 73, which I wasn't expecting. It was a 47. I didn't play the game at all. I circled Kentucky as the dog, but I didn't play them. Memphis, Iowa State. After looking at Iowa State, in the last game they played Kansas State 46-42, and Asa, their running back, ran for like 250 yards. And I said, wow, if they're going to get running, and Memphis doesn't have a defense, I said, so if they're going to get running support to go with Rocco Brack, then that should be a good thing. And so after deliberating, I go, well, Memphis is an over team with a 29 defense. Iowa State's been scoring. I went over 57, 58, so I get over 50, 26, a 62 with Memphis winning the game even. So I just wanted to see play. First, I saw Memphis winning like 22-10 at halftime, and I was like, oh, shit, Iowa State's losing. Then I realized I bet the game over. So that was a 62. That was another easy winner. All I needed was 51 or 52. Then the last game, I have Missouri because the spread goes to 5. Okay, this is what I don't understand. There was no reason the spread should have been moving on Ohio State. Right? Quarterback's out. Marvin Harrison's out. Missouri, their starting quarterback and their stud running back are both playing, and Cook's a very good quarterback, better than most in the NFL. Now I'm ready to take Missouri -1 and take them +5. But I'm waiting. So I was waiting for Marvin Harrison if he wasn't going to play. So then it's announced he's sitting out, and all of a sudden all the money goes on Ohio State. I guess the Sharps got another one wrong, huh? But this Sharp got it right. So I see the line go to 5. I take Missouri in 11. They win 14-3. Ohio State, the backup the regular quarterback sucks. So how good if the backup quarterback was a stud, I could see them, oh, okay, yeah, they'll probably do well. But the starters suck. Therefore, the backup couldn't even beat him out. Therefore, what are you going to do? All of a sudden, how are you going to score? And Missouri has a very good team. They're like 10-2 this year. They just lost to Georgia. Join the club. So I knew +11. That was very good. And I see the final. They win 14-3. I don't care about the score. I know Ohio State's got a good defense. I did have the under. Now, this is the other problem. The spread was 51, goes down to 48. And then yesterday it goes back to 51. And it made no sense, like, is Fields coming back to Ohio State? I mean, that's about where he belongs in college. So I can't figure that out. I can't figure all the money going on Ohio State. And Missouri wins. And they win 14-3. Hey, G. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. You're missing all the action, G. I'm red hot. Hitting the last hit everything. Frick is the Philadelphia game over tomorrow and Alabama. So here's where I'm struggling. Why is the money going on Ohio State? I love Missouri. What am I doing here? What am I missing? No injuries. Cooks and Schroeder are playing. The running back, they got a good defense. They got a good coach. They want to get the win. Ohio State, Harrison's not playing. Quarterback's not playing. What am I missing? And I can't figure it out. So I take Missouri in 11, and and they win 14-3. So anyway, that was a beautiful day yesterday. Notre Dame under, Iowa State over, and Missouri getting the 11. I like playing the totals, but once in a while I'm forced into just playing like Missouri in 11 was so good. I would have played the under, but Missouri, because it's Ohio State, they don't score. They have this strong defense, which didn't show up against Michigan. All right, so today I only like one game. I got to see something first. I'm looking at injuries in the pros. Dallas, Dowdell's out. Okay, who cares? And all hands on deck today. Yeah, I'm playing stuff today, dude. I got the night game. Detroit. Never heard of these guys. Houston, Johnson. Good New Orleans. I'm looking at the New Orleans. Well, I want to see Miami. So for Miami, Mozart's questionable with an ankle. Tagovailoa is probable with a thumb. Waddle is out, and Tyreek Hill's playing. So they've got Waddle out, and they've got Mozart questionable with an ankle. And I'm trying to decide what to do with that game. Let's go New Orleans. Okay, New Orleans. Olave probable, Kamara questionable with an illness. Again with this illness, I wonder if it's COVID and they're just not counting that. There's a lot of guys that are ill. It's the flu, but why would he be questionable? There's no way Kamara's missing this game. More importantly, Olave's playing. Okay, so let's get to today's lines. So at 11:26, we got a noon game. Penn State 5.5, 53.5 against Ole Miss. We got Auburn 4.5, 48.5 at 2 o'clock to Maryland. We got the 4 o'clock game. We got Georgia 21.5, 45.5. That number just keeps going up. And I'm not sure Georgia, well, it looks to me Florida State's not even showing up. And then we got Wyoming 4.5, 44.5. Tomorrow we got LSU 9.5, 55.5, and I have no idea. Wisconsin's best player, the running back's out. LSU Daniels is out. LSU has no defense. Wisconsin with the defense, but they don't want to be there. It's really a strange scenario, what I'm seeing. Iowa, Tennessee 6.5, 36. Their quarterback's not playing. Iowa doesn't have a quarterback. Oregon, 16.5, 67.5, very confusing. Bo Nix is playing. Liberty, what should be a high-scoring game, but I'm afraid of Oregon's defense. It's like today, I love the game over, but I'm afraid of Micah Parsons. And, they could – it was like Miami last week was 22-20. Had Dallas scored at the goal line instead of fumbled, it would have been 27-22. Well, it would have probably been 27-19 because Miami wouldn't have kicked a field goal at the end. That's only a 46, and that's Miami, so I don't know. Michigan still 1.5, 44.5 somehow, and then Texas is 4.5, 62.5. Their best running back's out, Texas. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Personally, Penn State's Ole Miss is a B team with a 22 defense. Penn State's an A team with an 11. Apparently, they're all playing. I see the starting quarterbacks. This over-under is 49. Is it still 49? Oh, no, it's 53.5. Got to update my line. 5.5, 53.5. As far as I know, Dart and Penn State's quarterback. I really think this is an under based on Penn State's got an 11 defense. Ole Miss, I don't know. Oh, let's take a look. Ole Miss, we'll talk about this game because it's on at noon. Ole Miss played Mississippi State 17-7. Georgia, they got their ass kicked 52-17. Beat A&M 38-35. Beats Vandy 33-7. Auburn 28-21. LSU 55-49. Keep in mind, LSU has no defense. So against a defense, Georgia, they scored 17. They gave up 52 to Georgia, but Georgia's in another class. We already know Penn State. Auburn 4.5, 48.5. Maryland's quarterback's not playing. Tagovailoa Jr. Auburn should have beat Alabama. Bad no call on an offensive pass interference in the end zone with no time left. But they wanted Alabama in the playoffs, so there was no way they were going to call that. But it's not fixed. We know that. Georgia, Florida State. Georgia 21.5, 45.5. Okay, we just updated that. Florida State, I mean, well, they got their fourth string quarterback in. Some of their defense isn't playing. Georgia, Brock Bowers is out. Not too many of their key players are out because they're at Georgia. I don't know if Georgia wants to send a message like, you fucked us, we should be in the playoff. I would have thought Florida State would have sent the message, you fucked us, we're not in the playoff. And I thought this would be a real good game. Both teams with the 16 defense, so we will see. Morning, Greg and John. I loved yesterday's. I had Missouri and the over in the Iowa State and the under in the Notre Dame. So I'm laughing all the way to the bank. Fine with me. I don't know, 45. I think Georgia wins like 40-0. I don't see Florida State scoring in the game. But how long is Beck going to play? And Bowers is out. But he missed a few games anyway. So I don't mind Bowers sitting out. This was the championship game. If they were playing Michigan like they should be, then he wouldn't be. Wyoming is so they're both A teams, but now I call Florida State an under with Travis out. This would have been a beautiful game with Travis, but without him, the fourth-string quarterback, they'll get shut out. They still have a 16 defense. And you got to realize in the defenses, they rotate. So it's a 20-man defense. It's not one guy. Like if Travis is out, the offense sucks. But in the defense, if a couple guys sit out, the other guys are just as good. And then Toledo is an A team, but their quarterback's sitting out. God knows why the Toledo quarterback would sit out. He's transferring. Wyoming's quarterback is playing. It's only 3.5 and it's 4.5, 44.5. 4.5, 44.5, Wyoming. Wyoming with the 23 defense, Toledo with the 20. Toledo, again, is now an under team without their quarterback, maybe. And this is the problem. You don't know. Look at the USC quarterback. Miller Moss, he throws 20 touchdown passes. Where did that come from? But then we looked at the Ohio State quarterback, the backup, and he couldn't even complete a pass. So I think USC is a system, and the rest are just talent. That's why I'm really leery about Caleb right now. I'm guessing you're not touching Ole Miss or Auburn game today. Ole Miss, I would say it's an under game because of Penn State's strong defense. Auburn I like because Maryland Tagliabue is not playing, so I would think Auburn, if you can trust Auburn, is a good play. Or what's the over-under? 48.5. I think it stays under. Auburn likes to run the ball. Maryland doesn't have a good defense, but without Tagliabue, I don't think they'll score much. And Auburn played Alabama really close, so I think that's an under, and I think Penn State's an under, and I think Georgia's an under. Like I said, I think that's 40-0 Georgia. And Toledo, Wyoming, I have no idea. Again, the starting quarterback's out. So logic says when the starting quarterback's out, you go under because, the backup shouldn't be that good, or why is he the backup? And yet I still see coaches still with their head up their ass having – the backup being better than the starter, and they're not playing them. And you go like, what the fuck? So I really don't know there. I'm expecting Maryland's backup to be shit. So I think Auburn under. I think Georgia 40-0. And Wyoming, Toledo, I have no idea. 20 defense for Toledo, 23 for Wyoming. Peasley's okay. The Wyoming quarterback is playing. And Toledo with the backup. So I don't know if you run to Wyoming or you run to the under. It's a game I just don't care. We'll get to tomorrow's or January 1st. Well, January 1st, Alabama is the free pick. So you already have that. Georgia 40-0. Well, Florida State doesn't have a quarterback, right? They're playing their fourth-string quarterback against my Georgia defense. What's he going to do? He couldn't score against Louisville. That was the third stringer. They got 16. The question is, who's going to be pissed they're not in the playoff? And it looks like Georgia, because their quarterback's playing, and then a lot of the Florida State guys are starting to transfer or whatever. So that's what it looks like to me. With Brock Bowers, I would have taken Georgia. I'm not going to lay 21. Florida State still has a good defense, so I can't sit there and just, think they're going to slaughter them. But that's what I'm seeing, 40-0. I just don't know where Florida State's going to score because of the fourth-string quarterback against Georgia's defense. It's not going to happen. Alabama scored on them because Milrose scrambled a little bit. And Georgia had trouble with Ohio State's quarterback last year and LSU's quarterback scrambling. I wish Daniels was playing. LSU would be such a lock. I don't get why he doesn't play. It's New Year's game. And I got to get ready for the draft. Like, oh, really? Seriously? So I don't know. But I'm rooting for him to be good in the pros, where I don't really like Stroud and Richardson and those guys. I do like Daniels. And Bo Nix and Penix should be good. And Hartman should be good. And then Caleb, I thought, would be good. Now I'm not sure. How does the backup go out and throw 6 touchdowns? And then, really? So you're kind of like scratching your head. It's the system. Because apparently anybody could go in and throw for 6 touchdowns, which is what I thought with Ohio State, that anybody could just go in and put up 40 touchdowns. And I was proven wrong. This McCord guy must really stink. And I wonder if it's his choice to transfer. I think they told him, get the fuck out. We'll find somebody else. You stink. You lost to Michigan. It's your fault we lost to Michigan. Russell Wilson, he's being benched because he won't renegotiate his contract. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of that with these quarterbacks like Daniel Jones. Who the fuck wants him? You're paying him $30 million and the guy sucks. Danny DeVito is better than him. I would assume they'll draft Hartman or Van Dyke or something. Well, not Van Dyke, but Hartman or Penix or Bo Nix. You would assume that, or Daniels and that, but I don't know if they can. If they've signed Daniel Jones, you'll never trade him. Nobody in their right mind would take him with that contract. So I think what's happening in the NFL, these guys are signing these big contracts, and now it's coming back to bite them, because not only are they not good, but then you're fucked with the other parts of your team. So Sean Payton says, I need defense, I need this and that, and all the money's going to Russell Wilson. I need you to give some money back. Now, I don't know why he didn't restructure his contract. I would have done that. Said, okay, it's going to cost you $20 million for me to restructure, but I'm going to do a Bobby Bow contract where you're going to pay me out 20 years. Only I want it in gold, not in money. I told Bobby Bow, I said, you're getting fucked, because he signed, a 30-year contract at $1 million a year or something like that. And he's getting so fucked because he's getting inflated dollars. So the dollars aren't worth as much in these years as they were in the beginning years. And when the dollar goes away, I told them to contact the Mets. And how are they going to pay you? When the dollar goes away and they owe you this money, Bobby, how are they going to pay you? And I says, you call your attorney and you tell them you want to get paid in gold. And it's not an option. And you have a contract to get so much money. How they give it to you, why can't they give it in gold versus dollars? But you're getting fucked because your million now is worth about $300,000 versus the million you got in the beginning, which was worth actually $1 million. And that's inflation for you. All right. NFL. So that's about it. So I don't know. I haven't played Penn State. I guess that's an under. Auburn, I kind of like because Tagliabue's not playing. Georgia, Florida State, 40-0 Georgia. I don't really give a shit about Toledo, Wyoming. I don't know how Peasy's okay for Wyoming. Toledo, who knows? I like Finn, their quarterback. He's sitting out. Man, when the Toledo quarterback sits out a bowl game, there's big problems. So that's what you got today. And then we'll talk about New Year's Day. Well, Alabama, we know about. There's the Iowa game, the Oregon game, Texas, Washington, and I don't know what to do with LSU. So that's college. Pros. Pros. Tonight we got 8:15 on ABC. Dallas 5.5, 52.5. It's been 4.5. It just went back to, well, it was really 4.5, 5.5. So they were monkeying around with the 4.5, but I bet it at 4.5. 5.5 and 52.5. Detroit's an over team with the 27 defense. So what I did was I reanalyzed the defensive scope. And I said, what's the last 6 games look like? And I came up with new numbers because my normal theory is to take the whole year, offense, defense, and rank the teams. So in other words, Oakland scores 17, gives up 20. They're an under team. They don't score, but a pretty good defense. And then I get into, let's see, like Washington scores 14 and gives up 30. And then I said, well, let me look at the last 6 games because now there's injuries or not, or the trade deadline. Let's see how they're doing now, not taking the first 3 weeks when everybody's tired and nobody's in shape because these idiot coaches don't play them in the preseason and they don't have their win and they all get hamstrings. And so I'm looking at that. So, for example, the Jets really were a 21 defense. Not the last 6, they were 24 defense. And Cleveland showed you they're 24 by scoring 37. Well, tonight, Detroit's an over team. Means they score about 28 a game, but they don't give up 24. They give up 27. The Bears, both games, Green Bay, New Orleans, these teams are scoring a lot on them. Minnesota last week, 24. So they're really an over team. Dallas, as I see, is an A team. They score in the high 20s. They give up 19. Last 6 weeks, they give up 20. Last 6 weeks, they're playing Philadelphia a couple times, Miami, Buffalo, and really that's 20. So I got a 27 defense against the 20. I got a 5.5, 52.5. Are the spreads. Golf against Prescott. Then we dig into the nitty-gritty, and the nitty-gritty says Philadelphia's got 11-4, winning the East. Dallas is 10-5, a game behind in the East. They're a wild card, but they can catch Philly for the division. Detroit has clinched their division, so there is a letdown. I don't care what you say. Yeah, they're going for the 1 seed. There's a big difference when your back's against the wall than when you've already clinched. Detroit does not have their back against. They don't need to win. It's nice if they get the 1 seed, but do they really think the Niners are going to lose to fucking Washington? And do they think Philly's going to lose to Arizona? So the Lions really have no chance of the 1 seed. And Dallas must win to stay in tune with Philadelphia. So they're a game back. They play tonight. Philly's tomorrow. They must win the game. Their backs are against the wall if they want to win the division, which they do. Then we look at the trends, and Dallas as a home favorite the last 2 years is 13-1. And we can use this trend because McCarthy's been there and Dak have been there more than the 2 years, but we can go back 2 years. Then we look at Dallas overall, 12-3 this year in a teaser. The only one they really got spanked on was the Buffalo game at Buffalo. And that came right after they beat Philadelphia. So they beat Philadelphia at home. They're 13-1 at home. They played Miami pretty good. If Prescott doesn't fumble at the one, they would have probably beat Miami at Miami. But the game's at home in a must-win game, back against the wall, which is my favorite. I got Dallas winning 37-24 tonight. I think it'll be high scoring. And normally in this, I would bet the over 99 times out of 100, but it's a 52.5. So it's a pretty high total. And there's a fellow named Micah Parsons on Dallas. And there's a fellow named Jared Goff who is a choke on Detroit. Detroit's been winning a lot of these games against shit teams. Now, Minnesota, they couldn't even beat Green Bay and Chicago twice. They beat Tampa and Atlanta. They beat Oakland when they were still with the other coach. And they're just the good teams they played were only Baltimore, and they got killed. They lost to Seattle. They lost to Green Bay and Chicago. I mean, last week they beat a shitty Minnesota team with whatchamacallit, a quarterback. What's his name? With where is it? With Mullins at quarterback, they beat them. And here you got Dallas. So they got to not only go at Dallas, where Dallas must win the game, but win. So that means they actually have to beat a good team. They have to handle Micah Parsons, which they can't do. Their defense sucks. They'll give up, at least, like I said, 37. But I don't know that Detroit scores that many. But let's give them some points. But Micah Parsons is going to be all over Goff. 3 interceptions for Goff easily. Dallas is going to kill them. So it's a question of, I like Dallas to win. I still like the over. And which one do I go with? Had this been a 46-47 like last week, it was the 47 with Minnie. I bet it's strong over. And I like betting Detroit over. They're an over team. They score 30. They give up 30. And against Dallas, they will give up 30. But with that said, the spread's so low at 4.5, 5 that I said, fuck it, I'll take Dallas. I don't even care about the 1.5. I don't have to lay anything. And the key is it's at Dallas. And Dallas is 13-1 as a home favorite, must win to win the division, to tie Philly to win the division. And Detroit clinched. So Detroit is relaxed. They've clinched. Maybe we'll beat Dallas. Maybe we'll win the 1 seed. Yeah. And then, so the Niners are going to lose to a 35 Z team in Washington. I don't think so. So the Lions can't catch, and they know it. Maybe, they can go after the 2 seed. Yeah, right. There's a difference between a team like Dallas who must win and a team like Detroit who has won, and then it's nice if we get this and that. And my experience is the Dallas team will kill them because they have to win, and Detroit doesn't, and they won't play. Hi, Real D. What is this, Chinese? Are they fighting for a seed? I think they bumped the over, right? Well, Detroit's in. Dallas is trying to win the division. So I'm not quite sure what your question is. If Detroit's fighting for a seed, theoretically, they could be a 1 seed or a 2 seed if the Niners lose to Washington and Philly loses to Arizona. But you're dreaming if you think that's going to happen. Philly must win because if Dallas wins, Philly's got to win to win the division, which knocks Detroit out anyway. Even if Dallas loses, Philly has to win to try to catch the Niners as the 1 seed. The Niners have to win for the 1 seed. So the Niners aren't going to lose. Neither is Philly. Philly at home against Arizona. So maybe if Philly was playing Frisco, Detroit would say, hey, we can be 1. But with the teams they're playing, Detroit. But again, it's different trying to get the seed versus I'm already in the playoffs. I've already won my division. So the best thing that happened in this game is Detroit beat Minnesota last week and won the division. Had Detroit lost, and then if they lost to today and then they lost to Minnesota next week, they wouldn't have even won the division. So they'd have been more panicky. But the fact that they beat Minnesota and clinched the division, and they're not very good. And at the end of the day, we bet against weak defenses. That's the key to betting, right? Detroit with a 27 defense. And they're giving up 30 points to the Packers and 28 to the Bears. And I look at the Bear game, they lost 28-13. I look at the Baltimore game, they lost 36-3. And I say, and they haven't played anybody good besides Baltimore. They didn't play the Niners. They didn't play Philly. Now they got Dallas. They've had the easiest schedule in the NFL. And they still managed to lose to Green Bay and Chicago. So you can say mathematically, it's like saying mathematically Green Bay and Minnesota can still make the playoffs mathematically, but we know they're not going to. So I love Dallas tonight, 37-24. I also like the over if you're inclined. That's a 61. It's a 46. I think the over gets there. I'm a little concerned of Micah Parsons shutting them down and Goff throwing the interceptions. Dallas grabs the lead and starts running it. We will see, but there's no way they're going to win at Dallas. I mean, that's not going to happen. So anyway, so let's go through the playoffs. New England, Buffalo. Buffalo must win. They're 2 games behind Miami, but if they win this week and they win against Miami, they win the division because they would have beaten Miami twice because they already killed them the first time. So I like Buffalo, but it's way too many points. With Zappe, I like New England to at least score a little bit, right? And they put up 27 on Denver, or 26 last week. Buffalo is having trouble. They'll score with Josh Allen. I got 31-13 Buffalo. It's a must win. They're not in the playoffs. If they lose their last 2 and other teams win their last 2, they're not in. So Buffalo at home against New England, they have to win. I think they win. Atlanta, Chicago. Atlanta must win. The Bears are out of it. Atlanta with the 20 defense, Chicago with an 18 defense. Over under at 37 in this game. And the Bears are favored. I don't know why the Bears are favored. Atlanta has to win, but Atlanta's a 7-win team. We don't really bet on 7-win teams having to win because they're 7-win teams. They're not really good. What do you mean they bump the over, Real D? No, the over's right with Detroit. That's about a right game because Detroit's an over team. So Atlanta is really an under team. Heineken against Fields. I got 24-20 the Bears. The Bears are good at home. Not too much weather. Maybe you take Atlanta as the dog. I like over 31. I think this number is really way too low. I don't know where none of these should be under 40, right? This 31 is, oh my God, it's a joke. They'll cover that in the third quarter, 31. The Bears score with Fields. I don't know how, but he runs a lot, and Atlanta score. Neither team's got earth-shaking defenses, but it's a playoff, so Atlanta's going to score. Heineken, he's not that good anyway. Oakland and Indy, it's a playoff game. Both teams need it. Indy's looking to win the division and get a wild card. Oakland can get a wild card, amazingly enough. Amazing what a new coach does. I got 17-13 Oakland here. Now here the over-under is 43. And I'm looking at Atlanta, Chicago, and I think they're switched. This should be 37, and the Atlanta game should be 43. So I fully love this game at a 43. I go under 49 in an Oakland game. They held KC to 14, and they really only scored 3 on them. They don't score. O'Connell sucks. They are 10-1 as a road dog, but that's what I let's go through the line. So Baltimore 3.5, 46.5. Again, this is for the number 1 seed. And we've got Waddle out and Mozart questionable. Tagliavua's got a hurt thumb. And the only guy that's even remotely healthy is Tyreek Hill. Baltimore is pretty healthy. Baltimore, I don't think, will be flat after killing the Niners. I think Baltimore wins this game. Let's see. Is there a 3 I can play? Yeah, there's a 3. There's a couple 3s. 3s and 3.5. Let's look at total. Total is 46, 46.5. Okay. So this is like the Dallas game. This is for the 1 seed. Miami never shows up against a good team. Baltimore's been scoring a ton. This is another game I love the over, but I'm without Waddle, and if Mozart doesn't play, and if Hill gets hurt, again, I'm worried that they're going to score enough. Miami. They only scored 20 on Dallas last week. So I'm thinking this is 34-16. Now, I think this gets over also. So this is really weird because I really would normally play a Dallas-Baltimore over, and I'd lock it. But because Detroit's close and the spread's so low, I like Dallas part of it. And the Baltimore part, I still like the game over. But I like Baltimore because it's for the 1 seed. And again, Waddle's out. Mozart's questionable. Tagliavua's got a hurt thumb. And so I just see Miami really hurt. And really their focus is going to be on next week when they play Buffalo, more so than this game, because they'll still have to beat Buffalo next week regardless, because Buffalo, if they win it, they're going to beat New England. Then if they beat them, they win the division. Well, actually, no. If Miami wins, they would win the division. But Baltimore is going for the 1 seed. Cleveland won. So Baltimore doesn't even know if they won their own division because Cleveland's a game back. Cleveland's won 11. They've won 12. If they lose and lose next week and Cleveland wins, then it's Cleveland. So Cleveland did beat them 33-31. So I like Baltimore here. It's just the way they looked against the Niners is immaterial. They got a lot of the sacks were meaningless because the starting left tackle got hurt for the Niners. The backup looked like he was in junior high. So a lot of that is misleading, and Purdy with the interceptions. And Hamilton's questionable. So I like Baltimore here, 34-16. It probably goes over also. Miami and Detroit are over teams. They score and have no defense. Although Miami's defense is like a 23, but it's shutting out the Jets twice. Carolina, it's against these teams, New England, that have no offense, right? But against good teams, their defense is like a 27. It's just like Detroit. Profit. A trivia question. Name the only NFL city that has never hosted nor had its team appear in the Super Bowl. I'll get back to you on that. Let's see. So I think Baltimore is good there. It's like Dallas. Baltimore is trying to get the 1 seed. They're the better team overall and the better coach. All right. Buffalo 14-40. Well, we covered that. The Bears 2.5, 37.5. All right. Houston and Tennessee 4.5, 43.5. Houston 4.5, 43.5. Against Tennessee, looks like Stroud and Levis, I believe, are the quarterbacks. A lot of quarterback changes this late. I think it's a toss-up game. I think I like Tennessee as the dog. I got 2017 Houston. The fact Houston wins the game, they're not a very good team. So the difference is when a Dallas needs the game, they're a good team, supposedly, or Baltimore, or Buffalo, or Frisco. When those teams need the game, you can bet on them. When a team like Houston needs the game, or a team like Detroit needs the game, you can't bet on it because they're not very good. So it doesn't make any sense. So here, Houston needs it. Tennessee should give them a good game. Henry's playing, so I think this is 2017. But Houston does need it for the playoffs. We'll go through the playoff scenarios. Indy, Oakland, we went through. Jacksonville, 3.5, 36.5. Jacksonville must win the game. However, their quarterback is not going to be Lawrence. It's going to be Beathard. So Lawrence with a shoulder problem now and an ankle problem and a concussion. So he's finally sitting out. I don't think he's that good anyway. I think he runs too much, and he really is not a good quarterback. He's from the Lamar school. I'm going to run, and I really can't hit the broadside of a barn, but what the fuck? No. I didn't get anything on Beathard. I looked, he's 0-0 this year. I think he played one game and didn't throw a pass. So I think this then Carolina's a Z team with a 23 defense. Jacksonville is an E team with a 25 defense that now goes down to an under team. With Beathard, I think you've got to say they're going to score less. I think the only way you can play this game now is under. Jacksonville needs to win. I think they only can win if they just throw short passes and run the ball and shut out Carolina, right? So look for them. Young stinks anyway. Look for them to do that. So where I would have played it over with just a second. For my Daria. All right. Carolina is terrible on the road. Well, I got news for you, Real D. Carolina is in a teaser. If you bet against them, 15-0 this year. That's how terrible they are. Just bet against them every game, and you would have won every game. And you get that kind of information only from me. Because the only way you can find it out is somebody who actually trends the teaser line, and that is moi. So, yeah, Carolina, but you got Beathard. So this would have been a lock if Lawrence plays. This is a lock, right? But he doesn't. But he's out, and that's part of the luck of betting that you really have to worry about is you finally got the game you want. Jacksonville in a must-win to win the division against Carolina, and you don't have your quarterback. So that's just bad luck. But then they got Beathard, who hasn't played. I think he played a little for the Niners, I think. But it's hard to just come in after sitting out for 17 weeks. This is why they need to play their backups, especially in this league where there's so many injuries, more. Get them some playing time. So when this happens, it's not like they've never seen the field before. So what do I got? Jacksonville minus 3.5 and 36.5. So this goes to an under because of I just don't see them scoring, and they'll play a different style. They'll play more conservative. They'll run at Neen. Beathard probably won't run, save passes, and they'll just play Carolina tough. I mean, Carolina can't do anything anyway. I think they score 13 points a game, so I'm not looking for them to light up. Although Jacksonville does have a weak defense of 25, but I don't see that. So in teaser trends, Carolina play against Carolina 15-0, Washington 14-1, Arizona 13-2, Kansas City and Seattle 13-2. That's pretty fucked up, right? Now, the converse, if you play the team, you just play the team. Oh, here's the list. Play the team. Minnesota's 14-1, Tampa Bay's 13-2. And then there's LA, Philly, Dallas, Baltimore, Oakland, and Seattle at 12-3. Which is that's still 80%, but I prefer the Minnesota 14-1, bet against Washington 14-1, bet against Carolina 15-0, bet against Arizona 13-2. So we got Arizona, Philly, and we got Washington, Frisco, which are gold, but the line's 14 points, which makes you go to a different. You go to option B. Rams and Giants. Rams are -6, 43.5. This spread's low. Spread should be about 10. Rams are been hot. Stafford, and you got Tyrod Taylor. And I looked at his stats. He's got like 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. Played in a few games. He runs around a little bit, but there's a guy named Aaron Donald on the Rams. What I like most about the Rams is the running back. He looks very good. Stafford's hitting Cup, and he's hitting Puka Buka, and he's hitting all these guys. He's got 3 or 4 good receivers and this strong running back. I love the Rams today. Tomorrow they must win. They're 8-7, but they're not in the playoffs. You've got Dallas ahead of them as the wild card, and you got Seattle at 8, and then you got a bunch. You got the mini Green Bay at 7, and you got the New Orleans Atlanta at 7. So it becomes. I don't know if they clinch it, but it'll get them to 9, and they're playing the Giants, who's a Z team. So love the Rams, 31-16. I'll go through all the scores in a minute. Philly, 11.5, 48 against Arizona. This is your free pick. Go over with Philly. Philly, analyzing the last 6 weeks, is a 28 defense. They went to Matt Patricia. Oh, my fucking God. Arizona is a 27 defense, which means neither of them could stop the wind. USC would put up 40 on both these teams, even with Miller Moss. Arizona's a Z team, but a lot of it is they didn't have Kyler Murray most of the year, so he's been scoring a little bit more, 17, 20 points a game with him. Philly with Hurts. They score. He runs a lot. I got him 42-17 here, but I love the over in the game. 48 is 42. I think Philly gets there by halftime. I think they will have a 42-point game at half. Like I said, 42-17. Interesting one. Tampa 2.5, 42.5. 2. Where the hell are they? 2.5, 42.5 to New Orleans. This is a playoff game. Winner of this gets the NFC South title with 8 wins. Tampa's got 8-7. New Orleans 7-8. New Orleans is in a must-win here. It's a playoff game. Carr against Mayfield. A lot of conflicting trends here. Tampa 9-2 is a home favorite. 9-2 bet against as a home favorite. New Orleans 8-1 is a road dog. Overall, Tampa's 13-2. I think this is a 24-23 game for Tampa. I'll give them the edge at home. New Orleans 21 defense, Tampa 23. I was waiting for Olave. Now he's playing. Now Kamara's got the flu, but I'm sure he'll play. The flu's not going to – you're not going to not play because of the flu. So 23-21, the over-under of 42. It's probably an over. Tampa is scoring. New Orleans, now that Carr's got continuity with the offensive coordinator and Kamara and Olave, they're scoring a lot more. So I think this game's an over. And I think I like New Orleans. As long as Kamara and Olave play, I like New Orleans as the dog here. I think this is a dog game. This game will be very tight, 24-23. Frisco 14-49.5 to Washington. Frisco, the A team, coming off an embarrassing loss to Baltimore. Washington's a Z team with a 35 defense. Enough said. I got 40-14, 49ers here. I mean, you're going against the 35 defense. I mean, they'll just give the ball to McCaffrey for 4 touchdowns. Purdy off of 4 interceptions. Look for him to play better. He is apparently healthy. He's not questionable. Deebo Samuel is I don't think he's questionable anymore either. He'll play. They need the game. Again, they are now tied with Philly for the 1 seed. They need it. So Frisco, off of the loss, needs it for the 1 seed. Look for them to kill Washington. Philly needs it for the 1 seed. If the Niners lose, which they're not going to lose to Washington, they will kill. And they need, no matter what happens with Dallas, even if Dallas loses, Philly needs it to clinch. So look for Philly and Frisco for the 1 seed to kill these Z teams. Pittsburgh, Seattle 3.5, 41.5. I honestly, Geno Smith, and now it's Rudolph against Pittsburgh. All right, he had a good game against Cincinnati, whippy-do. What's he going to do against Seattle? Now, Seattle has a 28 defense. So trying to figure them out, they don't score much, and they got a 28 defense. With those receivers, they're not scoring the way they should. And Pitt is more of an under team with an 18 defense, but now Rudolph put up 30 points. For the first time in 3 years, they scored 30 points. So I don't know what to say here, but this is a playoff game. They both need it. In that case, I go to the dog. So I think Pitt 9.5 with Rudolph is the way to go. Play against Seattle is 13-2 this year, and play against them as a home favorite is 9-1. So this is a big Pitt trend. Pitt with an 18 defense, Seattle at the 28. So Pitt should score. It should be a close game, I believe. Games like this, I think, are real close games, and take the dog. Kansas City 6.5, 43.5 to Cincinnati. Kansas City needs the game. They got a 2-game lead over Oakland and Denver at 9 and something against 7 and 8, I think. They're 9 and 6. KC, their hopes for the 1 seed are gone, but they still haven't clinched the division. If Oakland wins the last 2 and they just beat them, and KC goes 9 and 8, and Oakland goes 9 and 8, but Oakland beat them, Oakland, I think, wins the division. Or Denver's still in there, although they're all fucked up with Stidham playing. The real key to this game is you have no, okay, we know there's no Burrow. We got Browning. Chase is questionable. He's banged up. I doubt he'll play. He might, but I doubt it. He didn't play last week. I don't think he'll play. KC, they have a very strong defense, 21 defense. Cincinnati with the 25. And really with no offense. Browning showed his real mettle last week, throwing 4 picks against Pittsburgh. KC's defense, I got KC winning 20-6. They have to win at home off of a loss to Oakland. They really didn't play bad. They scored 14, but Oakland got 14 on turnovers. So if you really just, take care of the ball better, which they should, they would have won 14-3 and nobody would be talking. So I got them 20-6 here. A very strong defense with KC. Denver 3.5, 36.5 to San Diego, stick against Stidham. What the hell? Russell Wilson's bench because he doesn't want to renegotiate his contract. There could have been a better way to do that than benching him. Denver's still in the hunt. They can still get a wild card, and they can still win the division. So I don't get this move. I do like Sean Payton, so I don't know what the hell he's doing. I got 17-16 Denver. San Diego with stick. They're not going to do shit. Keenan Allen is doubtful. Denver, you don't have Russell Wilson. You're just throwing Stidham in, who has no stats this year. Again, I think this goes back to the Jacksonville game and these other games. You got the backup quarterback. What the fuck do you think you're going to get? So I don't like that. Minnesota 1.5, 43.5 to Green Bay. Now you're back to Hall. Mullins throws for 400 yards, but 4 picks. A couple of those passes were terrible. He just threw them up and prayed Jefferson got them. And some Jefferson did get, and now you're going to Hall. I don't see how Hall's going to blow out Green Bay. I got Green Bay winning 24-23. This is also a playoff game in the fact that Green Bay wins it out. They have a chance to get the other wild card, but you got the Rams with 8 wins and Seattle at 8 wins. The Rams are going to go to 9. Seattle, it's going to be tough against Pittsburgh at home. Not an easy one. But they'll both go to 9 wins. Green Bay or Minnie wins both. They get to 9. So it's going to be mathematically there. Seattle could lose them both and go 8-9, and they could go 9-8. So mathematically they can get it. I think this is a playoff game, and I like taking the points. I don't see Hall blowing out Green Bay here. And the defense, Minnie's got an 18 defense, and Green Bay with a 24. So Detroit looked good last week against the 18 defense, but they didn't have a guy named Micah Parsons on it. So anyway, so the playoff games, Dallas must win to win the division. Detroit's in. Maybe they go for the 1 seed. Do they really believe it? Can you really play that way? Can you really play where if I lose, I'm okay, versus a team that has to win the division? It's a whole different mindset. And from what my skill set is, I've got to take the back against the wall against the other team every time. It's the psychology of it. If I have to win, I'm going to win. I mean, I have to win. Dallas has to win. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but they're not. They want to win the division. And the other key is Dallas is at home, and they're much better at home. They're 13-1 as a home favorite. So tonight, I just see Dallas winning the game. I still think it'll go over. I might stick a small over bet in, but Dallas is, I believe, the play. So Buffalo, New England, we got 31-13 Buffalo. Zappy against Allen. Atlanta, Chicago, I got over 37. And Atlanta is the dog. Heineken against Fields. Atlanta needs the game, not Chicago. Oakland Indies, a playoff game. I got Oakland 17-13. O'Connell against Minshew. Oakland's 10-1 as a road dog. But that's not with O'Connell. So that's the last 2 years. LA and the Giants. I got LA 31-16 in a must-win. Stafford against Tyrod Taylor. Arizona, Philly trying to get the 1 seed. And if Dallas wins, which they should tonight, this is tomorrow, then they'll need it to win the division, which is critical. Philly 42-17. Murray against Hurts. New Orleans, Tampa. This is a playoff game. Carr against Mayfield. 24-23 Tampa. The Niners, Washington. The Niners will need it for the 1 seed no matter what happens. I got them 40-14 against the 35 defense Washington Redskins that probably wouldn't win a game in the Big Ten or SEC. Jacksonville, Carolina. Jacksonville is a must-win, but with Beathard, not Lawrence. I had 24-13. I probably need to adjust it to let's adjust it to 17-13 Jacksonville. I think it'll be closer and lower scoring. Miami, Baltimore for the 1 seed. Waddle's out. Mozart's questionable. Baltimore's healthy. Off the win of the Niners at home. I don't see a letdown against Miami when the 1 seed's on the line. This is not where I see it. I got 34-16 Baltimore. I do think this goes over, but Tagliabue's got a hurt thumb, and you don't have Waddle. So you got Hill and then Mozart. So if Mozart doesn't play and Waddle's out, and Tagliabue's got hurt thumb, and Baltimore's chomping at the bit and just killed the Niners, I think I like Baltimore there. This is a good – Miami doesn't show up in these games. Miami – they lost to Buffalo 48-24. They tend to lose these against the good opponents. They don't show up. And they got lucky against Dallas last week when Dallas fumbled at the 1. But Miami's defense is not going to stop this Baltimore offense. So it's an over and Baltimore, but since the spread's so low, then I got Baltimore in 3. Thank you. Houston, Tennessee. Houston in a must-win to try to win the division and still get a wild card. 20-17 over Tennessee. Levis against Stroud. Pitt and Seattle. It's a playoff game. Pitt and Seattle. It's a playoff game. Rudolph against Smith. Pitt's an under team. Seattle's a W. Seattle with the 28 defense. I think it's 24-23. It's at Seattle. They coach Pete. They're Denver, San Diego. Denver 17-16. I got against San Diego. Stick against Stidham. 2 terrible quarterbacks. Denver, I think, can still catch Kansas City or can still get a wild card. Although it's very unlikely. They blew their chance last week, I think. Cincinnati, KC, mathematically, Cincinnati can get in, but I don't see it. Kansas City still hasn't clinched the division, so they're in a must-win. KC I got KC 20-6. Strong defense. Browning against Mahomes. I think you'll see Browning with a few more picks this week. Joe Burrow, I would lock. If it was Joe Burrow getting 6, I'd lock it, even against Georgia. Green Bay Mini, I got Green Bay 24-23, also a playoff game. Love against Hall. I don't see Hall blowing them out. So when I look at the quarterbacks, Goff and Prescott tonight, okay. Zappy and Allen, I got to go with Allen, but Zappy will get me points. Heineken and Fields, is that even? Minshew and O'Connell, this is why 17-13. Stafford against Taylor. Stafford, I don't see Taylor winning the game. Murray against Hurts. I just think Philadelphia is too much. Carr against Mayfield, I think pretty even there. Purdy against Brissett. That I think Purdy can blow out Brissett. Steve Young against Beathard. This is where I don't see Beathard blowing out Steve Young and Steve Young being lucky to win. So this is where you go under because both quarterbacks suck. Teague against Lamar should be high scoring. Levis and Stroud, pretty even. Rudolph against Geno Smith is actually pretty even if Rudolph plays like he did last week. Smith isn't, Smith showing he's not that good. Rudolph, I always thought he was better at Oak State than when he got here. San Diego, Denver, Stick and Stidham, they both suck. Browning, Mahomes, of course, and Love and Hall, and both of them suck. So this will be interesting, this draft, because you got so many shit quarterbacks. And really, if you walk through it, all right, Golf won't be on Detroit next year. They'll get rid of him because they have to pay him, and they're not going to pay this guy $30 million. the end of the day, Detroit does not pay their players, except for Barry Sanders, big money. It's what Detroit does. Stafford, I think. Golf is no Stafford. You'll see him in the playoffs choke, which is why the Rams gave up on him, because he basically sucked. So I don't think he'll be there next year. Prescott, they're never going to win with Prescott. Zappy, New England needs a quarterback. Josh Allen, okay. Atlanta and Chicago need quarterbacks. They could use Bo Nix or Caleb or Hartman or Penix. Much better than these two jokes. Oakland needs a quarterback, and Indy needs a quarterback. Even though Indy signed Richardson, he's not very good. O'Connell is not Oakland's starter. They don't score. They have a good defense. Stafford's there for LA, and DeVito, Taylor, or Jones for New York sucks. Arizona, Murray, he's okay. He's not that good. Hurts really is not that good. In a big game, if they need to march down the field, he's not going to do it. He didn't do it in the Super Bowl. He's not going to do it. He's a good running quarterback. He's like Lamar. New Orleans, Carr, and Mayfield, they're adequate. They're not. I would rather see Tampa go to Trask and then New Orleans go to Hainer. They're rookies. Purdy against Brissett. Purdy's is good. Brissett or Howell. Washington needs a quarterback. Carolina, Young against Lawrence. They both need quarterbacks. Carolina's fucked because they just signed Steve Young as the number 1 draft pick, and he sucks. What are they going to do? You could have Caleb, or you can have Young. Who would you choose? You'd be all over Caleb. How could you not think Caleb's not better than Young? So they're really fucked, because if they keep him, they've just passed on better quarterback, and if they trade him, then they're really fucked because nobody wants Young. And Jacksonville, Lawrence is not the answer, and neither's Beathard, obviously. But they'll never get rid of Lawrence because he's the first pick, and they can't admit they fucked up. Miami with Tay, Baldwin with Lamar. What can I say? They're both chokes. Lamar never wins a playoff game, so I don't know. Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee, Levis is not the answer. And Stroud at Houston, he's okay. He's nothing good. Pitt definitely needs a quarterback. And Seattle needs a quarterback. And San Diego has Herbert. Denver, I don't know what they're doing with Russell Wilson. If they're gonna trade him, then they need a quarterback. So we will see. This thing. Sorry. I got to take Derek because she's in Russia and it's 7-8 hours ahead. So it's already like 7:30, 8 o'clock there. Cincinnati, KC, they don't need a quarterback. Burrow and Mahomes. Green Bay needs a quarterback, and Minnesota needs a quarterback. Kirk Cousins is terrible. So there's just such weak quarterback play in the league. This draft should be wonderful with all the Hartman and Van Dyke and Rising are playing another year. It's like 20 years in college. You've got Caleb, you got Nix, you got Penix, you've got Daniels at LSU. So you've got 5, 6 all-pro NFL quarterbacks coming up. Hartman, the kid at Tulane, I'm not sure about. Kid at SMU's just a freshman or sophomore. So you have some very good quarterbacks to draft, and we will see. And we'll see how the NFL screws them up. You still have Hayner at New Orleans, who hasn't played yet. You got Stenson Benson from Georgia at the Rams, who's waiting in the wings. And you got Hooker at Detroit from Tennessee waiting in the wings. Hooker, I think, will be very good, as Hayner and Bennett will be also. I mean, I think the league's like, well, you got to be able to run as a quarterback, and they missed the boat. No, you don't have to run. You have to be in the pocket and know, and then you got to be Mahomes and Burrow. You've got to be pocket passers that could run, not Lamar and Hurts, who run and can't pass. Hurts is throwing the ball. He's missing the receivers. The guy's wide open 10 yards away, and he's throwing it in the ground 5 yards away. Like, what the fuck kind of quarterback is that? You're not winning with that. Let's see. Real D, it's hard to beat the same team twice right now. Really? Why is that? I don't agree with that. It's about matchups. If I match up with the team, I match up with the team. That's what it's about. Buffalo killed Miami, and they'll kill Miami next week. I don't think Miami's going to win because Buffalo won the first time. If the game's for the division and Waddle's out and Mozart's out and Buffalo's there, I like Buffalo to win. KC beats their team. Well, I mean, KC and Denver split, but it was because Denver's defense got a lot better. I don't buy that crap. That doesn't make any sense to me. The division games are harder because they see each other. So like Detroit beat the Bears the first time and then lost to them, and they beat Green Bay the first time and lost to them. It had nothing to do with them playing them twice. It's the familiarity of the Bears in Detroit. So they are familiar. They know all the plays. They know what to expect. They're not afraid. And so they play accordingly. Baltimore beat Cincy both times with Joe Burrow. So it happens, but I don't not bet it because they got to play each other twice. So that I think's just bullshit. Mini Green Bay, I don't know who won the first game. I think Mini won the first game. I don't know. It's about talent. It's about who your quarterback is. So in, Denver, San Diego, you got Stidham against Stick. Well, obviously it was Russell Wilson against Herbert the first game. How could you even compare that to the second game? You can't. So it's a lot of the injuries and a lot of who's the quarterback determines it, the defense. If Detroit played Oakland now, they probably wouldn't win the game. They got them when the old coach McDaniels was still there. So there's a lot to go into it. Anyway, that's the pros. So the playoff game, Dallas needs it to win the division. Detroit doesn't. Yeah, they could get the 1 or 2 seed, maybe, but they're playing Dallas. If they were playing the Z team, Washington, Carolina, Arizona, the Giants, I would agree they'd win. But they're playing Dallas at Dallas, who's much stronger at home, off of 2 losses. Dallas will win the game. They're just going to be more pissed than Detroit, who is, it's like they won the game. They lit the cigar. They put their feet up. We beat Minnesota. We won the division. And Dallas is like, fuck, we lost to Buffalo, and now we lost to Miami, and now we're home, and we're game behind Philly. We worked so hard to beat Philly, and now we're game behind them again. So we now have to beat Detroit to try to catch Philly, to try to win the division. And you'll see the difference. Dallas will be on fire tonight. So that's the difference. New England, Buffalo. Buffalo needs it. Atlanta, Chicago. Atlanta needs it. Oakland, Indies, a playoff game. They both need it. The Rams and the Giants. The Rams need it. Philly and Arizona. Philly needs it. New Orleans, Tampa. They both need it. Frisco, Washington. Frisco needs it, especially after getting beat. Jacksonville, Carolina. Jacksonville needs it, but they don't have their quarterback. Miami, Baltimore. They both need it for the 1 seed. So it's a little different, but they both need it. You got injuries there. Houston, Tennessee. Houston needs it. Pitt, Seattle. They both need it. San Diego, Denver. Denver needs it. Cincy, KC. They both need it, kind of. But if Pitt wins, I don't know if Cincy. I don't know. We'll see. But Kansas City needs it also, and then Green Bay, Mini. They both need it. So look for that. So we will see. So I've got 4 locks posted. Again, your free play, fucking Bama getting points from Michigan. Wow, that's unbelievable. And then I got the Philly, Arizona over because both defenses suck. And that's the key to it. Once you realize the defenses, most people don't even look at the defenses. They don't have a clue. That's the key to the game. So if I'm the offense and I'm playing this really weak defense, if I'm Hurts and I got a 27 defense in Arizona, I'm going to light them up. I'm going to put up 35, 40 points. And then if I'm Kyler Murray and I'm looking at the Philly defense, I'm going to light them up. For him, it'll be for 24 points. And then, so if you look at the total should be like 60, it's 48. And this is like USC Washington and the over's 45. And you're like, how much money can I bet on this game? Because this is a joke. This will be over at halftime, and this will be over at halftime. So that's what really you're looking for. So Philly's the over, fucking Bama. Today, Monday is Alabama, Texas, Washington, Iowa, Tennessee, Liberty, Oregon, and Wisconsin, LSU. So we have been red hot, hitting Notre Dame under, Iowa State over, and Missouri over Ohio State, which is great pride on winning that one. So don't really care too much about it. I think Georgia, Florida, like I said, 40-0. And I think that's all I got today. Yeah, Penn State, Ole Miss, I have no idea. Auburn, I think, wins, but I think it's an under. They just don't score. Maryland, decent defense, but not what I'm looking for. We already hit the Cleveland game on Thursday. We had Cleveland -1. They win 37-20. I also like the over. This is the whole week, right? Cleveland -1 and over 35. And I like both ways. I ended up taking Cleveland -1. They win 37-20. It also went way over 29, which I did not understand. See, once I did the defense, the Jets are at 24 and Cleveland's at 25. And once I did that, and I see the over-under is 35, and I got Simeon and Flacco's lighting it up, and Simeon's not bad. I sit there and I'm like, there's no way. How does this not go over 29? And it was so easy. And then they play a 57 and a 35. That's like Iowa playing a 57, right? So that made no sense. And I got it with Dallas, Detroit. I like Dallas and the over, and Baltimore, Miami. I like Baltimore and the over. And it's what do I play? I might play them both. I might go with an over teaser and a Dallas Baltimore teaser. I don't know, but I'm not thinking of taking Detroit because they don't need the game. Yeah, maybe they could be the 2 seed, maybe, but Philly and Frisco are not losing this week. Frisco gets the Rams the next week. Maybe they lose that, but Detroit has to beat Dallas, which they're not going to do in Dallas. So it takes a lot of that, and Philly's got to keep winning. I don't know who they get next week. They've already played Dallas twice. I think they played the Giants twice, and maybe they get Washington next week. Normally they're division games. So Philly's not losing to Arizona at home. It's not going to happen. Anyway, so that's pro. So it's keep your eye on it. Really, there's just the one game, Detroit, Dallas, and that really won't show much. Detroit's clinched their division. Dallas will put more pressure on Philly to win their division if they win. And if they lose, Philly's still going to go after the Niners for the 1 seed. So it really shouldn't have a bearing on Philly tomorrow. Otherwise, they might have won the division, but that's why Dallas has to win. And so you want to play back against the wall. You have to play the team that has to win over the team that doesn't. Detroit's a nice team. They haven't beaten any good team. They've only played really one team this year, Baltimore, and they got their ass kicked. Seattle, 8-7 team. Minnesota, 7-8 team. Green Bay, they lost to the 6-9 Bears. New Orleans, the 7-8. Who the fuck have they played? Kansas City week 1, I don't count. San Diego sucks. Oakland sucks. And Denver they beat, who is 7-8. So they haven't played the big guys. They didn't play Philly. They didn't play the Niners. They didn't play. Now they got Dallas. So this will be their best team besides Baltimore. They didn't play Miami or Buffalo. So they're playing the soft schedule and winning against the soft teams is what Detroit is doing. So you got to realize that. It's like Michigan. They didn't play anybody. The one team they played, Ohio State, just lost to Missouri 14-3. They weren't that good. Michigan didn't play anybody. Alabama beat LSU and beat Georgia. And anybody that can beat Georgia is going to beat Michigan. Georgia is much better. Georgia's fucked. They should be in the playoff. They should be in the playoff much ahead of Michigan. And where's Oregon? That's a joke. Oh, Oregon lost to Washington. They shouldn't be in the playoff. Did you watch their season? They killed everybody. So that really sucks. So Oregon and Georgia should be in this playoff, which this year should be 8 teams. Florida State should be in there, Oregon, Ohio State, and, of course, Georgia. So it should be an 8-team playoff. The NCAA is too stupid to realize this and say, you know what, let's make it an 8-team playoff this year. Let's renegotiate the contract, who I'm sure the TV would love to have those extra 2 games in there, and we'll play an 8-team playoff. Demand is there, as I teach you in marketing, as I teach you in economics. So let's talk about marketing real quick. Let me know if there's any more football questions. It's 12:43. What is marketing? Marketing creates demand. So it really is economics. Economics, I have a product, and then do I have demand for it, which then creates a market for it. Can I sell this product? And marketing says, well, let's make this bottle, and we'll make this label, and we'll call it 12 years to try to get sales. Oh, it works. People want that product. The good-looking girl, the good-looking car, the Rolex, Saks. These are all ways to get you to want a product, right? Polo, and that's what marketing is. It creates a demand and creates a market. That's the point of it, right? And that's the point of economics. I can only sell something if there's a demand. Hence, oops, there's no more demand for this. You printed this to fucking zero. And the way the government wants to keep this is by keeping the price of gold down. This is the fucking morons in the government way of making demand for this is by keeping the gold price down. What the fuck? Who's the idiot who thought of that? Let the gold price go. It really shouldn't be related to the dollar. Or why don't you just fucking back the dollar by gold and buy the gold and let the gold price go up and you'll be rich and you can't fuck yourself. But they don't want to do that. Profit. I thought it's now at 12. No, that's next year. What do I have to do? What do I have to do to get you to break open the bottle? It won't happen. There's nothing you can do. It's never being broken open. So you can stop with that question. So this is the warped way the government thinks. Well, look, there's no demand for this. So the competition is gold. So we'll keep the price of gold down to keep this in demand. This is so fucked. So that's the problem, right? So that's not marketing. That's not I want the dollar. That's I don't want the dollar. But we'll make the competition look bad too. And it's price fixed. So you realize that. You realize gold's much, much higher. And so you buy it's the sale of the century. I can buy gold cheap because the idiot government doesn't understand marketing, says, we're going to keep the price of gold down, so you'll buy dollars. Well, why do I want to buy dollars? I don't want to buy dollars. It's like if you made this $2 and you made Dewar's, you want to sell Dewar's, nobody wants it, so you make this $2. Well, how is that going to make me buy Dewar's? So what you're doing is allowing me to buy gold very cheap, but they're totally missing the concept of a market, a free market. So they price fix gold down and they want you to buy dollars. And the public is so stupid, they're buying the dollars. Instead of realizing this is a great opportunity to buy gold, what does everybody, when's the gold price going up? Where the gold price hasn't gone up, so I'm not going to buy gold. Okay, your alternative is to stay in the dollars, which are basically have no value. You can't go euro. So, okay, I won't buy dollars, I'll buy euros. This will buy you a cup of coffee, maybe. So this is worthless, and this is worthless. So why do I want to be in either of those? The only thing that has a value is gold. Then they try to sell you Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin has no value. We don't know what it is. It's just, it's digital. It's a computer keypad or whatever. I don't know what it is. You don't know it's 21 million. Somebody says it, doesn't mean it's true. And then you just have no idea how the value comes. And everything's based on demand. So maybe Bitcoin's based on demand. I don't know. But you don't own anything at all. There's no, why do I want to buy it? There's no marketing for it, right? There's no, I can hold the gold in my hand, but I can't hold the Bitcoin in my hand. People are clueless about gold because of the whole, they're clueless about gold because the marketing, as I'm saying, is teaching you, well, we want to keep you in the dollar, so we're going to keep the price down on gold. And people think that's the real price of gold. They don't realize it's not. And so people are judging it by the price, going, well, it doesn't move, without understanding how the price is set. And they don't understand the dollar's worthless. And that's the biggest thing, is that they don't get the dollar's worthless. Right. And if they don't get that, they don't see the reason to go into gold. And that's the problem. So it's people aren't educated. That's why I'm here, to try to educate. And when you go talk to your family, Greg and John, and I know Bobby has the same thing to say, buy gold, they don't get it, do they? They don't understand it. I've given you the perfect scenario. Well, the average person doesn't watch the price of gold. They'll watch it when it hits 20,000 an ounce, but right now they see 2,100 or 2,070 and they think, well, that's the price. That's all it's worth. It's not a good, I lost money in it. I had one guy, I was at the pool about 3 or 4 years ago at the other apartment I lived at before I went to Alabama. And the guy says, yeah, I had gold. I lost money in it. And I go, it's impossible. Because he played derivative. He played paper gold, right? So he bought it at whatever, and then it went down paper-wise. And he sold it. He said, well, this doesn't go up. And, again, clueless that the value is much, much higher than what they're selling it to you for, because they want to keep the price down to get the demand in here. So they're reverse marketing. So this is a pretty bottle. So therefore, you like it, you want to buy it. You see a nice Rolex, you go, "Oh, that's pretty, I want to buy it." You see a nice Ferrari or Mercedes, you go, "Wow, that's nice, I want to buy it." You see a nice girl, you go, "I want to buy her." You see a nice meal at the restaurant, you want to buy it. A nice shirt, it's a polo shirt, it looks pretty, I'll buy it. But this is the reverse. This is not really, nobody wants, the smart people don't want this, they want gold. The rest of them look at money as a need. Oh, I got 100 grand in the bank and I need it to pay my bills and I can retire and da 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 da. And as I said, the best thing you can say is, well, if you got 100 grand in the bank, it's worth maybe $1,000. It's what you could buy with it now versus what you could buy with it 10 years ago is about $1,000. But you see 100 grand in your account and you think it's the same 100 grand you put in there 10 years ago. Or your 401k at work, you think is 100 grand. Try to buy stuff with it and you'll see you can't. It's not, it doesn't have value. So what they've done with the inflation and the reverse marketing is reduce the value of the dollar to almost nothing. That's why this is 1 cent, because this is really the value of this dollar is 1 cent. That's it. Your value of 100 is $10, is I think $10 or whatever 1%. That's $1 because that's what you can buy with it now. So what the government's doing is keeping the gold price down to keep you not interested in it. It's almost like I was watching Hogan's Heroes, and LeBeau goes to town and meets this really pretty girl, but he says, "Well, she's old and ugly, and I just try to help her, and she's really pretty." And so that's what they're doing with gold. Well, she's really ugly and that, and she's really pretty, but they make it sound like she's ugly, and then they make it sound like the 100,000 in the bank's really pretty. Oh, look, it's 100,000. And in 1971, it was a lot. In 2031, 2023, it's not a lot. It's not worth a lot of money. You can tell by all the billionaires. They're billionaires, but it's because the money is worth less and less and less that now a billionaire is like a millionaire, and really a billionaire is nothing. It's not a lot of money. It's just so inflated and printed so much that it's really not a lot of money. You watch these old movies, the guy was a millionaire. Oh my God. Now half the world's a billionaire. All the Russians and all the mafia are billionaires. But they still can't buy anything with the money. And that's the thing. The whole concept is get rid of the dollar. So in marketing schemes, what they're saying is, gold's, you don't want to buy gold. So what they're trying to do is reverse market you and tell you it's not good. It's not a good thing to have. I could do that in football. I could say, well, you don't really want to bet on Washington, their Z team. Well, no, it would be, you don't really want to bet on, let's say Seattle. Oh, yeah, they're not really that good. Go bet Pitt, and really you want to bet Pitt. So they really are trying to talk you into something that you don't want to be in. So they try to talk you into money, and then all these little analysts on TV say, "Oh, the inflation's gone, or inflation's 3%." The fuck are they talking about? Inflation's at least 20%, if not probably higher. Because you can't really measure it, right? All I know is Coke's $3 for a 2-liter. It used to be $1.50. How is inflation down? And I don't even look at prices for inflation. It's what the dollar will buy, and the dollar won't buy nearly as much. So that's really the whole key. So marketing is to try to get you to buy something. And reverse marketing, which is what the government's doing, is to get you not to buy the gold. So they don't want you to buy the gold. They keep the price low so there's no interest because everybody's greedy. and wants to make money, and they want to buy Microsoft and Apple because they're going to make money in the stocks, and they don't even realize, but the money's worthless. This is the problem. The money has no value, and therefore, if the money has no value, why do you want to be in money? And that's the question you ask. You got to ask your family and friends. Why do you want to be in money? It has no value, but they don't realize it has no value. And then you tell them about gold. They, well, gold doesn't move. Well, gold's about to move very strong. They can't print gold and lose its value. So gold is the same as this 50 count Mahomes card. They can't print anymore, so the value should go up because it's Mahomes. And that's the value of gold. The demand for gold is huge. So the marketing for gold is, look how pretty it is, and you can't print it, and it's money. And then there's no competition because the competition is going away. It's going to zero. So it's sort of like Burger King and McDonald's, right? Burger King, I told you yesterday, it's going away, right? It's the prices are too expensive. The demand for it's going away, and they're closing a lot of stores. Nobody wants to eat and pay a lot, and so the prices are going up. Part of it's inflation, where they need to charge $10 for a hamburger, but I can go to the Coney Island and get a $5 hamburger. That's much better, and I'm sitting down. Why do I want to go to a Burger King? It's supposed to be fast food. I'm taking the thing home. It should be cheap. It should be cheaper than going to a Coney Island and sitting down. So really, that's the issue. But so there's McDonald's and Burger King, but Burger King's going away because they can't compete. They can't. They need to sell their too much. Nobody wants to eat there. The volume's dropping. The sales are dropping. And the costs are going up, and so they have to go out because they didn't make – Wendy's got it when they made baked potato and chili, where Burger King just wants to sell you fries, which will fucking kill you anyway. Same with McDonald's. I don't know why anybody would eat there. It's all the clowns where they bring the kids and kill the kids with all the high cholesterol and high fries and the buns sweet and all the sugar and everything. So – that's the game, is getting rid of the competition. And so as McDonald's got rid of Burger King, as the dollar trying to get rid of gold. The problem is there's too many people that understand gold, like the Russians and Chinese and the BRICS and us, that say, no, I don't, I know the dollar can't compete with gold. You can't reverse me. You need to buy gold. So I would say, Greg, 99% of people don't understand gold because of the price being $2,100 now. People don't get it. They don't. Why isn't gold price going up? And they can't connect the dots that it's being held down. So you'll buy the dollar. They cannot connect that. They don't know marketing. They don't know economics. How in the world are they going to catch that concept? So all they see is a low gold price. They don't get, you can't print gold, you can't inflate it, you can't destroy it. It's real money, and the real money you have is worthless. They can't connect all those dots. It's impossible for them unless they watch me. And so therefore they don't know what to do, but it's a trust factor. Well, I know the money is in the bank, the banking system. The government would never lie to me like on 9/11. And so therefore, they don't know. So they go, well, okay, the government, the banks, okay, the banks aren't going to lie to me. I got my money in the bank or the stock market. And they see all this. And then lately the stock market's at a new high, I guess. I don't even follow it at like 37,000. That's bullshit. That is, they're inflating the money. So they're printing the money and putting it into the stock market. Yeah, we're going to have a digital currency. Oh, that'll be fun as they print that to death. That'll never happen. And if it does, just buy more gold. Unless the currency is backed by gold, you don't want it ever. So you're basically dealing where people don't know, except for us, and the Russians and the Chinese apparently know. Right? Why does Putin have 32,000 tons of it? He knows. He gets that gold's good. So with that said, that's your key, right? Well, they have all this. They know what's going on. That's why I listen to Alligator or Egon. They know this kind of stuff that I don't. And again, I got Daria listening. She lives in St. Pete. If Putin comes out and says, okay, we're going to switch to a gold-backed currency, is it going to get to here in the U.S.? Probably not. But if Daria says, okay, they're switching, Putin's told us, then we'll know they're going to a gold-backed currency, which they are very soon. So is China. So that's really the key to it. So marketing is about getting you to buy the product by making it look good and feel good, and the pricing. Well, pay more for a Rolex, but it's worth it. It's it's very pretty, and we're selling to the rich and that. Or buy a polo shirt. Look how pretty it is. Got a polo player on it, for Christ's sake. So that's the idea of marketing, which is economics, which is to create demand, to increase demand for the supply of the goods. So you're selling Rolex. How do I make it so people want to buy it? Oh, look how beautiful it is. Yeah, it's $40,000, but it's a Rolex, and you'll be like a king if you own a Rolex. So they paint the picture. Do you really need a Rolex? No, just buy a Tag Heuer for $1,000. Or you know what? You got a phone with the clock on it. You don't even need a watch anymore. So these are the things where you don't know any of this, right? And you don't know you're getting like squeezed like that. So people don't learn it, and they're not teaching it in school. They don't teach Austrian economics or gold or money in school. Do they tell you in school the money's worthless? That the money is toilet paper? No, they don't teach you that. Well, why not? At school, what are you teaching me, right? And then you go to college, it's the same bullshit. You take economics. The first economics I took, was Keynesian, and I didn't learn a damn thing in it. In fact, I was so confused, I didn't know what the fuck the guy was teaching. I didn't even study for the final because I couldn't even understand what the fuck I'm reading because it's all in Chinese. How am I going to take a test when I'm reading Chinese to get ready and I can't read Chinese? Then I go to my master's program and it's Austrian and I get all A's. I'm on the dean's list. And I learn all this shit that I'm telling you guys without really looking at my notes because I don't need to because I know it. So that's what happens. They're not teaching it to you. They don't teach you about gold. They don't teach you about inflation or the money going down. And they don't teach you any of this shit. This is the problem. This is why I'm here. I don't like that. Fuck them. I'm not going to sit there and watch everybody get fucked over. That ain't going to happen. Greg and John, I see you doing a few things here. Okay. I saw this store in New York giving away gold and the people wanted paper money. Yeah, we heard that about it yesterday or the day before. I hated it in school. I was not good at all. Well, because it was Keynesian economics, and I'm sure they didn't tell you that. Keynesian economics, they use really strange terms, even like elastic and inelastic. I'm still confused by which is which. In other words, in my mind, to put it in English, there's a price that, like gasoline for your car, you'll pay any price for it because you need the car going. But if steaks go to $20 a pound, you won't buy it. So I don't know which one's which, but that's how I define it. I don't define it by using these words elastic and inelastic, which are very, very confusing, or optimum this and optimum that, optimum prime, or whatever you want to call it. I don't use those words, do I? You follow me because it makes sense to you. It's English. Just like when I teach football, it's in English. Look at the defense. The defense sucks. So really, that's why nobody likes, because they don't really want to teach you, but they want to say we're teaching economics. Yes, we're teaching economics, but we're teaching Keynesian economics, and we're going to do it as difficult as possible so nobody understands it, because we don't want anybody to understand our Ponzi scheme, which is we're printing worthless dollars and we're keeping you out of gold. First thing the guy did in my Austrian economics class was tear the dollar. And the second thing was you want to buy real assets like gold and silver. That's the biggest thing I got out, was to buy this and get out of buy real assets, which was buy this and buy this. This is the 100 count Barry bonds. So it was to buy things that are in demand in the market. So things I want that are strong and then limited. Now, Barry was great and his value is ridiculous, but that was the right idea. He just, with the steroid thing, I didn't know why it was hammered so badly that he has to be in the Hall of Fame to have a value. It hurt Pete Rose, and that it's such bullshit. That's socialism, right? So that was the key, was to get real assets. And then I took it to the next level, which was get Joe Montana and get the superstars where there's demand for them, not Joe Blow where there's no demand, but it's a 10 count card. I want a guy who's in demand. So it was Jerry Rice, it was Mickey Mantle, it was Bobby Orr, because I knew there'd be demand for those players, because that's the market. There's a market for them. And that's really what I took out of my economics class, was get something the market wants and then get something that's limited. So I immediately went after very limited cards, cards that were numbered, right? 50 count. So it's limited, which is important, and get the star, which is important, and get gold, because while gold isn't as limited as the cards, it's limited in the fact they can't print it. So it's a real asset. It's real money. It's the only competition to the dollar, but most people don't understand that, and you can't print it. So it can never go up in value. It can never go down in value because it can't be printed. It can only go down in value when these idiots Ponzi scheme you by printing these derivatives, which make the price go down, which I don't know why. And why are we using this paper derivative market to price gold in the first place, which doesn't make any sense. So you're buying physical gold at paper gold prices. So that makes sense. We're getting a huge discount, which most people don't understand. They see the discount, they go, oh, the value's not there. And they don't realize it's a huge discount because it's priced in paper, which isn't realized. It's not real. We're waiting for the price in physical. That's what that's what BRICS is all about. That's what the Saudis and the Russians getting oil for gold is all about. It's what's breaking the dollar. Dollar goes away. There is no other dollar to go to. George Soros has it fixed where all the dollars are being printed to zero. The Nazis win. That's the game plan. But if you have gold, you win, not the Nazis. So if you notice, every country is the same. They print and print and print, and they're printing to zero. None of the money is worth anything that's paper in any country. The only thing is gold that's worth anything. But people don't understand because nobody's taught that. That's the beauty of, you can go buy a ton of it at this cheap price and make a fortune. You'll never work again a day in your life as soon as gold finally starts going, which is now very, very realized. You can say, well, in 1971, they went on the gold standard, and, so it's been 50 years. Well, it's like the Lions haven't won their division since 1991. Does that mean they'll never win the division? It took them 40 years, and now they won their division, and it's the same thing. Well, it doesn't mean it can't happen. They just needed the vision to be so bad that they're the best of the worst. They're just like the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar sucks, but all the other dollars are worthless. The Lions suck, but Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago are terrible, which makes the Lions win, which makes them look better than they are. That's why I point out, but they played one good team, Baltimore, and got killed. They're playing the second good team, and they should get killed tonight too. But that's, again, people have to understand, and you really need to think logically and rationally. That's why you're stoic. You're stoic. Does this look right? Does this sound right? And that's really what stoic is. It's about the way to think and the way to look. And are they scamming me? Does this girl really like me, or is she using me? Do these people really like me, or are they just using me? And that's what stoic is, making you think about it. So why is gold so cheap? Get stoic. Think about it. Why? Why? Doesn't make sense. They can't print it, and the dollar is getting killed. Why isn't gold going up as the dollar goes down, as Alligator seems to think, but doesn't happen? And everybody goes, well, gold doesn't go up, and da-da-da-da. Yeah, because they're keeping it down. Hello. So you saw the store in New York giving away gold, and people wanted paper money. Well, they don't understand. And I heard that somebody brought that up a couple of days ago. I think Prophet did. Bobby Bow card has no market because Bobby Bow, we like Bobby Bow, but what did he do? He wasn't Mickey Mantle. He didn't hit 500 home runs. He didn't hit 350. He was a good player, but he wasn't a great player. And people, they like Bobby Bow, but I would never spend big money on a Bobby Bow card because he was a good player, but he wasn't Reggie Jackson and he's not Mahomes. I would rather, see, here's where competition comes in. Would you rather get the Bobby Bow card or the Mahomes card? Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls, but Bobby Bow, I think he won a World Series with Florida, I think he said. But that's fine, but I'd rather have Mahomes. I'd rather have Joe Montana. I'd rather have Mickey Mantle. I'd rather have Bobby Orr. So when it becomes competitive, he can't compete with those superstars. He's a good player. He's a star player, but he's just not a superstar. So therefore, there's not enough market to get to his level to raise his price. Although he does have like a $1,500 card I saw. So he's got some, but he's just not at that point. Yeah, but if the government keeps it down, how will it go up? You're not listening, Greg and John. Prophet. Did I hear someone is giving away free gold? Sign me up. Yep. Well, the government can only keep the price down so long. So as I've said, and you're not listening, is that the BRICS will raise the price because they've got all this gold, and the BRICS want the higher price because they want to come out with gold-backed currency. The U.S. has been fighting countries to not do a gold-backed currency. They fought Russia. That's what this war was about. This Russia-Ukraine war was the U.S.-Ukraine, and Russia won. So they are going to come out with gold-backed currency, and that's what will raise the price of gold because they can't do it at 2,000. They'll need it more 10 or 20,000. But 2 things will happen. A, the market will finally want gold, and B, the dollar will go out. And when the dollar goes out, because they keep printing and printing and printing, see, they've never printed this much before. And it's always been in foreign countries, and they bought stocks and houses in the U.S. for safety. They've never, now Biden comes in and starts printing $10 trillion here and $10 trillion there. You can't do it. Now the value of the dollar is gone, and then that will make everybody run to gold because there's no other alternative. And that's what will raise the price. So the government really won't be able to stop it because it's a worldwide thing. It's not just a U.S. gold market. It's the world gold market. And it'll finally break, and the U.S. won't be the premier dollar, and the U.S. dollar will go out, which then will lead to gold. So that's what it's doing. They've had the hold of keeping it down, so you buy the dollar because the whole reserve currency crap was the dollar, and they were making a lot of money on the transactions. Oh, if you have Swiss francs and you want to buy euros, you got to buy dollars to buy the euros. You can't buy them with Swiss francs. So they'd get a commission on all that. Well, everybody's tired of that. So that's why this whole thing's ending. Is if I got Swiss francs, I want to buy euros. I want to buy euros. I don't want to buy dollars to buy euros. And so everybody's had enough of the U.S. and Russia and China are saying, fuck you. And they have all this gold. And so they will raise the gold price and there's nothing the U.S. can do. That's why it's changing. How much gold did they give away? I don't know, Prophet. Yeah, Greg and John, you're bringing it up, so you got to answer these questions. I have no idea. But basically, gold is such a simple thing. It's the answer, and it's so cheap. But people don't understand it and don't realize how cheap it is. And they don't realize the dollar's collapsed. They don't realize that this is basically worth 1 cent. People see $100 bill, think it's still $100 bill. It's $100 bill, but it won't purchase $100 worth of goods anymore. Or the $100 worth of goods is not worth $100 anymore. So everything in value has gone down. So this mug has gone from $10 to $20. So now my $100 bill will only buy. So if this is $10, my $100 bill would buy 10 of these. Okay. Now this is $20 because the value of the dollars dropped. So now I can only buy 5 of these. So do you see the difference? So my 100 could buy 10, can now only buy 5. So really the value of my 100 has now gone in half. It's only worth 50. Because I can only buy 5 of these, not 10. So the value of my 100 has gone down. That's what inflation is. You can only buy or purchase less of the goods. The goods prices maybe go up. I can only make this. So this is $10 a thing. I can only make it 20 if there's buyers. This is what they don't understand about the CPI and inflation. If nobody wants to spend $20 on this, I can't sell it for 20. So theoretically, the 100 still buys 10, but in other products, the 100, I can't buy as much. So the bottom line is I can't buy as much. But really, the bottom line is the value of the 100 is far less. That's the hidden secret to the inflation. We'll print more, and it'll lose its value. But then in the market, it determines. This is determined in the market. $100 will buy 2 of these. Now it'll buy 1 of these, only if the market will bear the higher price. And you need Canadian Club 12 here. Well, I'll buy something else. I'll buy Dewar's instead of Canadian Club 12 here, and it's cheaper. So I'll do that. And then you can't sell the Canadian Club 12 because people are substituting it for Dewar's or Jim Beam or Jack Daniels or whatever. And that's really what the key is it's not just prices because we're smart. We substitute. I want whiskey. I want Canadian Club. It's too expensive. I'm going to buy other. Just like at the meat counter, the New York strips are $15. The other are 10. I buy the other. I don't care. Meat's meat, pretty much. I can't tell that much of the difference. A little bit once in a while. I'll treat myself if the New York strips are on sale. But otherwise, I'm not going to do that. I might have steak for New Year's tomorrow, I think. Sounds like a good idea. But that's really what the point is. So people don't know how to measure the inflation. They don't know how to measure that the value of the dollars drop, but if you print more of them, it has, but you can't print the gold. So what you're looking for to survive is things you can't print more of. So even this, you can't print more because you can only make 50. So you could theoretically buy the Mahomes 50 count card and it would go up in value, but you still have to then find a buyer. See, the difference is finding a buyer for the Mahomes 50 count versus finding a buyer for gold. It's much easier. I can go to the gold store and easily sell it to them because they're going to sell it. So they'll buy it in 2 seconds. Where the Mahomes card, I can't take to the gold store. I got to go on eBay or find a card shop or set up a card table and say I'm selling Mahomes and find a buyer for it. It's far easier to find buyers for gold than buyers for Mahomes card. That's the thing with the baseball cards. There's so many. It's such a big auction house. Do I want Mantle? Do I want Mahomes? Do I want Willie May? Who do I want? There's so much things. And what's happening is, but as the money is worth less and less and less, I don't have the money for the Mahomes card. But if I have gold, then my money never goes down. So the key is, if I own gold and this is $10, I can buy 10 of them. I'll always have gold. We'll always buy 10 of these. So this is the biggest difference. This is Masters 1101 here. So if I have the dollar, I can buy 10 of these at $10, goes to $20. Now I can only buy 5 of these. If I have gold, no matter what it's worth, I can buy 10 of these today. I can buy 10 of these tomorrow. I can buy 10 of these in 5 years, because the value of gold really will never go down. The paper gold are bullshit, and they're controlling the price, but they can't control it. They can try. But when the ship's sinking, you can't control the price of gold, and the price of gold will go up. In fact, you'll be able to use a 1/4 ounce of gold to buy these. So the difference is in gold, you'll always be able to buy 10 of these. In dollars, you'll only be able to buy 5. That's about as easy as I can make it. The value of the gold will never go down. It'll only go up, because you can't print it. And the way it's being priced is incorrect. So really, the problem with gold now is the way it's priced. It's priced by COMEX in London, and their little Ponzi scheme is up. So it's finally getting to the end. It needs to have gold in the transaction of the derivatives, and there's not a lot of gold left. All the central banks are buying gold. China, Russia are buying gold. So they're shrinking the supply to nothing. That's why I bitch and scream saying you better buy it now, because if you wait, I don't know that you're going to be able to find it, and it's not going to be at this price. I know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, because it's once the gold's gone, and once everybody see, I can't tell you when people will realize this is worthless, but I can tell you it is worthless, and people will realize it. And to answer Luke and Bobby's question, I don't know when the light turns on, but it's going to be sooner than later, especially with Russia and China coming out with gold-backed currency or BRICS. Once they come out with the gold-backed currency and it chases everybody away from the dollar, people will then realize it's worthless, and then they will then run to gold. And at that prime, you want to have it. Now, when does that happen? Who knows? It's not scheduled. The Lion game is tonight at 8. The gold is not scheduled. You don't know. So that's what you need to understand. You have to get cards graded too, and be careful. You might not get your card back. Yeah, I guess. You should get them graded, but that's a different animal. You don't need your gold graded. In fact, I would tell you not to buy graded gold. But all the grading does is verify that the card's condition. So, yeah, the Montana card, I would get it graded. And, yeah, I mean, will you get the card back? I don't know. I mean, would I if I got $100,000 Montana card and it's a 10 and they don't give me it and they keep it because it's worth $100,000 and they give me a 9, it's worth $10,000. I mean, I could see that happening. That's why I'm very leery to turn it in, but that's another animal. But it's the limited card. That's why I buy the 50 count or the 100 or the 25 count. I have a 1/1 Iserman. Do I really need to get it graded? You're worried about condition, but it's the only card. So are you really worried about the condition? The Hannes Wagner 1906 card, where they made 10 of them, sells for $10 million. It's graded PSA 2. Did it need to be graded? Not really. Maybe authentic. Maybe is it the real card? Authenticated, but not the grade doesn't matter. So I don't know, but yeah, that's part of it. Getting it graded. I don't know. See, that's why I tell you don't buy graded coins. For what we're trying to do is you just want an ounce of gold and an ounce of silver. You don't want to get them. You don't need them graded because you're really just looking for the ounce. Because if you notice, the ounce of gold, and so the Montana card's worth ungraded $1,000. PSA 9 is 10,000. PSA 10 it's 125,000. But gold is not, the price is what, 2075 is not PSA 10 or PSA 9 or anything. It's gold's worth this much. Not graded gold, just gold. So a PSA 10 gold ounce is still worth 2075. There's no differentiation between a MS70 gold, MS70 is PSA 10. An MS70 gold coin is not worth any more than a gold coin because it's the value of the gold where the price comes in. And that's really what you're looking at is the value of the gold is the price. That's it. And that's why I don't recommend getting proof or MS70 gold coins. You don't need the condition. Now, the older coins, if you're a coin collector, like a Liberty Head or these, Mercury Dime, MS70, yeah, you're going to pay for condition. But that's not what we're doing now. We don't care about that. We just want the ounce of gold because it's an ounce of gold. It's not an MS70 ounce of gold. It's the ounce of gold. So that's why I don't care about that. But in cards, yes, you want it graded or just buy PSA 10s would be my suggestion. But that's a whole different animal. That's really not what we're talking about. It's a way out, and then I'd get it graded. But, I mean, the Mahomes card, I'm not worried about getting it graded. I got a 50 count, and we'll see what we do later on. But right now I'm focusing on gold where I don't have to worry about it. I don't need to trust that the guy's grading it isn't going to steal my card. I got gold and I make sure it's real gold when I got it. And once I know, then I buy it. I put it away and that's I'm just waiting. But that's what we're looking at. So again, marketing is about making you buy something, which is what Stoic is saying, which I talked about the other day, is you should look your best because you're marketing yourself. So if you go out in nice clothes and a nice haircut and cologne and you smell nice, the girls will be attracted to you if you're a guy, and if you're a girl, the guy will be attracted to you because you market yourself. You are a Rolex, you are a Jaguar or a Mercedes or a Fiat or a Ferrari. That's what you're presenting when you come out and you look all good, or these girls in their short shorts and shortcut things, they're marketing themselves. I talked to one girl who was really hot and she was wearing very little. And I says, why do you go out like this? She says, I want to be noticed. I don't want to be touched. I want to be noticed. I just want to make sure that I am pretty. And if the guys look at me, then that's what I need to get that reassurance that guys think I'm pretty. And I'm just shaking my head like, why do you need that from these guys? Just, you can't tell you're pretty. And then if you can, then just ask me if you're pretty. I'll tell you you're pretty. But you don't have to dress like that to get the approval. Those are weak people. Those aren't stoic people. Stoic people, you go out and you look good. I don't need the approval of somebody to say, yeah, you look good. Yeah, I know I look good. And I'm not trying to be conceited, but I'm not stupid, right? So I don't need the approval of people. Just like when I talk about gold, I don't need anybody's approval at the hot tub or the pool or at the poker or anywhere to confirm that we should buy gold or challenge me on not buying gold and buy Bitcoin. I don't need that. I know I'm right. I don't need somebody to say, yeah, that's a good idea to buy gold, or, it's a stupid idea. I don't need either. I know it's the only way to go because I understand paper's going to zero and gold's going to go through the roof. So I don't do it for the approval. I do it because it's right. But that's what you're doing to market yourself. That's why you wear the perfume or the cologne and you dress nice. That's really what you're doing, is you're marketing yourself. You want to be seen, and that's why a lot of the times I piss Jenna off. It's like, I don't care. I don't need the approval. I'm fine wearing this out for dinner. I don't need to wear a suit so other people can see me. I don't need the approval. I'm fine the way I'm at. It's a nice, it's clean shirt. It's nice pants. I, comb my hair. I got my cologne out. Okay, I'm fine. I don't need anything else. And that's really, but the Russian girls are like that. They got to go out looking like $1 million. I don't know if they're insecure to need their approval or what it is with them. They know they're beautiful, but I don't know. I guess they just go out. They never know who they're going to meet, and I really don't know. But they definitely always go out looking very nice, putting their makeup on. They always go out putting their makeup on, their hair comb, and very nicely dressed. So you won't see them go out not like that. Anyway, that's marketing. Marketing's about creating demand for the product to sell it and get as much as you can. Try to say there's no competition for it. Porsche, there is no substitute. Means you can't substitute goods, which is phony baloney, because there's Ferrari and Maserati and Mercedes. So there is substitutes for the Porsche. But that's the idea, is you got to have that, and then you'll pay whatever to buy it. Sort of how we're doing with gold now. We don't care. We need gold. We don't care what the price really is. We need gold because we know the money's going out and the gold price will be going up. So we need gold at whatever price. We have to have it, or silver. So with that said, that's today's lesson, marketing. And it's really weird, but the U.S. is reverse marketing gold by keeping the price down and then trying to make it sound like you don't need it. And the banks do a very good job, because what do? They talk you into paper. They keep you in money. Buy stocks, buy bonds, buy a mutual fund, buy a real estate trust, buy a annuity, buy a money market. They'll keep you in the banks or in the stock market where they make money off of you. The whole thing's a big Ponzi scheme, and they never mention gold. I go to the bank, they never mention gold. I go to, if you go to a stockbroker, financial advisor, they'll never mention gold. They're a bunch of Ponzi schemes. They're all Madoffs. They're all scammers. The difference is Madoff told you he's a scammer, and he paid you for it. So Madoff actually said, okay, you give me $100,000, I'll give you 10, 15% a month, boom, boom, boom. And he paid you. So I don't know what was really wrong with the Ponzi scheme, to tell you the truth. And I really don't know how it's any different than the Ponzi scheme that's being played now, where everybody puts you in money and then you get fucked on your real estate trust, attack on Wall Street 60,000 guy, and you lose all your money. And they say, well, you took the risk. Too bad you lost. You shouldn't have taken the risk. Yeah, but it was a crooked game, because when it started going south, you screwed me. You didn't let me get out. And you promised me it was going to make 8%. So no, I didn't play the game and lose. I didn't invest in the stock, and the stock goes down because the president gets sick and he leaves, and the new guy took over, didn't know what he was doing. So that's kind of what it's like. But anyway, that's really the whole problem, is they're very good. The whole little scheme here is to keep you in dollars, not in the gold. That's why you don't hear anybody telling you about gold. And, buy stocks or buy real estate trust. That's what the guy did on Attack on Wall Street. Put him in. Instead of stocks, you put them in the real estate trust. Oh, you get 8%. And the poor guy's like, did you inspect the houses? Well, it had nothing to do with inspecting the houses. It was allowing people with no credit risk to buy houses. And that was because of Clinton did that. He forced them to do it. And then they bail them all out. But they don't bail out the Madoff people or all the people, the Wall Street people who did it. They don't bail them out. It's such a bullshit scheme. If you get fucked by these guys, you should get bailed out the same way the banks do. But since the banks run the government, the banks don't need to bail. The banks bail themselves out. So if I'm the bailer and I lose on a football bet, right? I have Penn State and it loses and I bet 10 grand. Oh, okay. Well, give me the money back. And that's kind of what it's like. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, you lost. We'll bail you out. Here's the 10 grand you lost on Penn State. And that's what they do. And it's just bullshit, right? The whole thing's bullshit. So keep that in mind. Just be very careful with that. So yeah, the more you're out in money and not in gold, the more your chance you're going to go to zero. You're going to go bankrupt. All the stock market crashes. If you would have just been in gold, you would never have ever lost. Have you ever heard of gold going to zero? Have you ever heard of people losing money in gold? No, because it can't happen, because they can't print it. So if you really want protection and you really want to make a fortune, just buy gold. And then there's no risk. It can't go down in price. Yeah, they can fuck around with it in COMEX now, but soon they can't. And as soon as the Russians come out and the demand for gold goes through the roof, you can't lose with it. And there's no risk with it. You can't print gold. And that's the key. And that's what nobody tells you. That's what they don't teach you in economics. That's your economics. That's your master's level class. Econ 999 is they can't print gold and you can't lose with it. It's a zero risk, huge reward asset. So don't ever forget that. And that's how you got to explain it to your friends and family. They'll see, well, the price doesn't go up. They don't even understand it to even have the conversation with. So there's really not a lot you can do with people that don't understand it, that you can't have the conversation with. It's what they are. Anyway, so good luck on your football. Philly over tomorrow with Bama on Monday. Keep in mind, Dallas wins, forces Philly to win, forces San Francisco to win. Well, they have to win anyway. Philly and Frisco are kind of tied. And we'll go from there. So really, Buffalo needs to win. The Rams need to win. New Orleans, Tampa is a playoff game. The Niners need it. Jacksonville needs it. Miami and Baltimore, it's for the 1 seed. Houston needs it. Pitt and Seattle both need it. KC needs it. Cincy kind of does, but really, and then if Chase doesn't play, and then Green Bay, maybe they need it. I mean, they need to win, but maybe they get in. I don't know. So that's it. So it gets really juicy now with all the teams that need to win to get into the playoffs. So the dynamics shifts from week 6 when they're just playing in week 7 and week 8. So now you get to week 15, 16, 17, and 18. They need to win to make the playoffs. They need to win to make the 1 seed. That's when I hit the 11 and the 10 teamers was the same thing. So it would be like I'm playing, well, I'll take Dallas and Buffalo and LA and Philly and San Francisco and Jacksonville. I'll play those teams because they have to win. And it all fell into place. And all of them won. All the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds needed the game, won. Some of the teams that needed to get in won. And then I cleaned it up with UCLA, Michigan State, and Florida State as my 3 top bowl plays. And so it ended up being 11, and it ended up where all the teams in the NFL needed to win 1, and they all covered. And UCLA won, and Michigan State won, and it all came down to Florida State. Unbelievable. And believe me, watching that game was, had I known my knowledge now, I don't think I'd have played Florida State -1, especially if Auburn had this killer defense. But Florida State was so dominant that year. They were probably putting up 40 points a game and giving up 10. So it would have been hard to get away from that, especially at a 7-point line where I go to 1. All I got to do is win. That made it such. Had the spread been 14, I wouldn't have done it. But at 7, and all I got to do is lay 1, it was so appetizing that I did it. But so it was, and they won. They won by 3. It was beautiful. So keep that in mind. So again, we'll talk tomorrow after the Dallas-Detroit game. We hope that Dallas wins. We might bet a little on the over just to not really cover ourselves, but I think that's a good bet too. How do they really stop Detroit? I think Detroit, I got 37-24. I think Detroit scores some, but Dallas will dominate the game, and it could be 37-10. So they might, it's a big number. That's what's stopping me. It's 52-53. Like I said, if this was 46, 47, this would be a stone cold 100-unit lock on the over in this game. Because Detroit scores, but they let up 27, and Dallas plays pretty good. And so it's, Miami only got 22 on them. It was a 42 with Miami. So that's the other thing is Dallas's defense is preventing me at this 53 to go over. Baltimore, Miami, it's the same thing. Baltimore's 20 defense is kind of preventing me from going, but it's a 46. So I definitely will have some over there, I believe. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Good luck on your football. Happy New Year. I know, tomorrow's New Year. I'm so screwed up. Yeah, tomorrow's New Year's Eve, which puts Monday, New Year's Day. So I might go play poker tomorrow night. I don't know. We will see. I don't know what else to do but go to the casino and play poker on New Year's Eve, until I get the girls here or something. All right. Well, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. If you want the rest of the season, $100, the bowls, the playoffs, and then the NFL through the Super Bowl. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Take care.